Third influence we need to be aware of is Satan. Satan is attacking our mind. The world, the flesh, and the devil. It says in Ephesians 6, put on all of God's armor so that you will be able to stand firm against all the strategies of the devil. And Jesus said about him, I didn't put it up here, but in John chapter 8, Jesus said what? He said the devil is a, do you remember what he said? The devil is a liar and the father of it. That's what Jesus said. He's the father of lies. He's done it so long, he's so good at it. There is a devil. Jesus told us that. The battle for your mind is intense. It is relentless. It's going to happen today. Tonight when you go to bed. And Satan doesn't give you, he doesn't play fair. He's a dirty cheater. He doesn't say, well, listen, I know you've had a rough week, I'm going to back off. No, he pours it on more. I'm going to let you rest tonight. No, he can get you at 3 in the morning with all these negative, bad thoughts of why it's just not going to work out, and why I just don't think I can make it in my marriage, or these kids are just driving me crazy, or that job, or church, or even God. I don't even know if I believe in God. Because the devil is a dirty cheater who attacks us all the time. Let me just give us a few ideas how we can identify if it's thoughts coming from Satan. He causes you to feel overwhelmed with no hope. That is not from God. God is always going to give you hope. No matter the situation, there is hope with God. If you get a thought that there's just no way, I'm overwhelmed, I can't, there's just no hope, that is not from God. Or, like you personally are not worth anything. We had that in several of those lies. We had it in that music we had. You are loved by God, created by God in His image, where He sent His Son Jesus to die for you. He does want you in heaven. You cannot say that you are not worth anything. Or wanting to quit doing good. Now, we've probably all wanted to quit doing good, but that's not from God. That's not from God. He said, don't quit doing good. You'll reap eventually. Just don't quit. But if you get a thought you're just going to quit doing good, that is from the evil one. And I noticed in both places where we have the two main prayers of Jesus, we have the prayer called the Lord's Prayer, Our Father. And He prayed in there that we would keep from temptation, keep from evil or the evil one. And when Jesus prayed in John chapter 17, He said, I pray for these, Father, and for all those who will believe in Him, which is us. He said, I pray that they will be kept safe from the evil one. In both these main prayers, Jesus prayed for us to be kept safe from the evil one, because He knows how much damage his lies do to us. He's confused and mixed up in your mind. Just can't settle on anything that's right or good or wrong. That is not from God, who wants us to have a sound mind. To be totally always mixed up and confused. Or to be fearful and anxious. God is not the author of that fear. I'm not talking about a real life fear like I don't want to fall off that building. I'm talking about this anxious fear of what's going to happen. We build up in our mind. At 2 in the morning, we think all the worst thoughts, and then that'll happen, and then that'll happen, and then that'll happen. God is not the author of that. Can God ever give us a negative thought? Yes, He can. But it's about a conviction of a specific sin that you can be forgiven and changed. See, just have this natural, I don't even know what's wrong, but I just feel everything's bad. That's not from God. But if you said, you know what, you shouldn't have yelled at your kid like you did just because she's mad at your boss. That can be from God. So yes, God can give us a negative thought, but it's something so that we can do better. We can be forgiven and changed. Or He may give us a negative thought. In the sense of negative thought, we see how somebody else is hurting over here. And that's negative, and we don't like that. And we're going to do something about it. God, help us. We're going to do something about it. You see, God gives us a negative thought to be better. But not to lay around and quit. That is not from God. That's from our enemy. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. These are from God. Give no opportunity to the devil, it says in Ephesians. Don't let him put a foot in the door when you're laying around thinking these thoughts. Either get up or try to think about something else. Replace those thoughts. And we're going to talk more about that next week, how to win this battle, because there are things we can do in this fight. But I want us first to recognize where we need to be aware of. The world, the flesh, and the devil. Can anybody tell me who this is? Anybody with a good memory?
Don't litter.
Huh?
Don't litter.
Some litter?
Don't litter.
Don't litter, right, good, yes.
Indian crying for what we've done.
Yes, yes. I think one of the greatest commercials ever made was with this guy in it. His name is Iron Eyes Cody. And they did a pollution advertisement about, they saw all these people just throwing trash in the water and trash on the street and just the pollution trash, which I don't like either. I don't understand why people litter like that. That's laziness. Throw it in the trash can, all right? But anyhow, and so after he sees, so Iron Eyes Cody goes and sees in this commercial, and then he turns around and he has his tear in his eye. Now, what we find out later was, after he died, he was not an Indian, not an American Indian. His parents were from Italy. They were first-generation Italian immigrants, and his name is Espera Oscar de Corti. But he did over 200 movies looking like this. Did a great job, I think. He really. Matter of fact, the tear's not even real, it was glycerin. But that's not my point, because he still did a good job, and that's all right with me. My point is this: he told a legend, a story of the legend of the little boy and a snake. The boy went up on top of the mountain, and when he got up there, it was really cold, and he saw a rattlesnake laying there. And the rattlesnake said, "Oh, it's so," it was a talking snake. He said, "Oh, it's so cold. I can't move. Could you take me down to the valley where I can be warm?" And the boy said, "If I take you down to the valley, you'll bite me." He said, "No, I will not bite you, I promise." So the boy picked up the rattlesnake, he took him down to the valley, and the rattlesnake's moving around and went, "Rah!" and bit the boy. And as the boy's failing, he said, "You promised." He said, "You knew what I was when you picked me up." We know what the devil is. He's a cheating, murdering liar who is not going to let up on you or me, or your family, or your church, or your country. And so we got to beware of lies. The lies are going to keep coming. That's his main weapon, lies. The lies are going to keep coming. So we have to be aware of them, the world, the flesh, and the devil, influencing the battleground of our mind. Next week, how to win the battle.